Hi, I'm Afshadeen. I'm a Maths Lead Professional for Discovery Schools Trust. This video is going to unpick features of a good online maths lesson, and this will be achieved by watching two parts of one whole lesson. Now, the first section is going to be looking at the input of a lesson and unpicking the features and what makes it a good online remote learning session. And the second part is a very short clip on the use of OneNote in the lesson and the benefits of using OneNote alongside a remote maths learning content. Before I play this online maths lesson, I'm going to go through some contextualized information such as which year group this lesson was taught to, the focus of the lesson, and the length of the original pre-recording. So first of all, this is a Year 6 lesson, and the focus of the lesson was interpreting pie charts to solve problems. Now, the original length of the pre-recording was 21 minutes, but for the purpose of this presentation, only the first 15 minutes of this lesson is shown. Now, the pre-recorded lesson was uploaded onto Teams via the teacher, and the children were able to access it through their own team through Stream. Whilst the video is playing, it's really important and it would be beneficial if you get a pen and a piece of paper and write down your ideas as you are watching. What do you notice? What is it about the structure of the lesson, what the teacher is saying, and possibly think about it from the pupil's perspective of how this lesson will help them to learn. Once you've written down all your ideas and we've finished watching the video, we will then go on to some key features for why some of the ideas in this lesson make it a good online maths lesson.
We'll try annotating, as it did make things a little bit easier, I think, yesterday. So last lesson, the pie chart shows the favourite fruit of 48 children. So there's your first really important information. You've got 48 children. Okay. Let's look at our pie chart. How many segments is it made up of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to do something with that 48 and the 8. Hopefully you should be recapping your knowledge from yesterday. Okay, you need to tell me how many children chose banana, okay, as their favourite fruit. If you do that and you finish all the other questions, obviously you can do the other fruits as well, but focus on just banana to start with. Last week then, we were looking at value of decimal numbers and what those numbers mean, so a bit of partitioning. 1.456 is equal to 1 plus something plus 0.006. Okay, so what is the missing something there? This year, looking at revisiting addition with missing digits. So you've got to think about your missing digits. Remember, you need to work from right to left and do any exchanging. And then last year, complete the missing length. So you've got a missing length here and a missing length here. And you need to work out those missing lengths. If you manage that, can you work out the perimeter of the shape as well? Okay, so pause me now, have a go at rapid recall. It's on your OneNote to complete on there. It's brilliant. And obviously, something we've been doing in school is once you've watch the OneNote, once you watch me back, you can mark your OneNote as well. So let me just show you how to do that. Let me change the screen that I'm sharing. So when you complete your rapid recall on OneNote, hold on, let's go to OneNote. Obviously it's here. So when you type your answers, whether you type them here or on there, you can then go to draw and you can see here the different highlighters. Yours might look slightly different, but there'll be a highlighter in 4 colours, green for correct, pink for not correct. You can mark your own like you do in school. Okay, so that's something else that you can do. So pause me, have a go at the rapid recall, and then when you're ready to go through your answers, you can take as long as you need to. Press play and I will explain how to do them. Okay, those of you that want a back, you must be ready for me to explain. So first one then, we had to do 48 divided by 8 to find out how many in each segment. Okay, well I know 5 8s are 40 and 6 8s are 48, so each segment of my pie chart is worth 6. Okay, therefore for banana, I've got 3 segments, 6 times 3, 18. Okay, if I was going to do apple, 2 times 6 is 12. Grape would also be 12 and orange would just be 6. Okay, so there is last lesson. Last week, so 1.456, so I've got my 1, I've got my 6,000, so all I've got left is my 4/10 and 500, so the missing value would be 0.4 and 5. Right, this year then, so starting in my ones column, 5 ones add 7 ones would give me 12 ones. So my 2 would go there and I'd need to exchange my 10. Well, 8 add 1 is 9. So how many more to get to 7? Well, it's going to have to be 17. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 8 more. So I'm going to put an 8 there. Let's check. 8 add 8 is 16. Add the 1 would be 17. So I need to exchange my 100 because that's 17 tens. Now let's look. 9, 10. It's going to be 2 more to get to the 2 there. So 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need to exchange my 1 again. 6 add 1 is 7. I need to get to 14, I'm guessing. So 6 add 1 is 7. 7 add 7 is 14. And then I'd need to put a 1 there. Well done if you got that one right. And then last year, so we had these 2 missing lengths here. I'm going to start with this one up here. Now, I don't know this length, but I do know across the bottom here, let's just highlight to show you nice and clearly, that this side here is 11 centimetres. Well, on the other side, this bit plus this bit would also have to equal 11 because they are the same length. Okay, those 2 together, you can't see me pointing at the screen, those 2 together are the same as the opposite side. So if one of those is 8, the other one must be 3. 8 add 3 is 11. We can apply the same rule going on the other side. Let's get a different colour. So this side here is 7, which means this one plus this one must also equal 7. So therefore, this one over here, if that's 2, this one must be 5. Then if I was going to calculate the perimeter of the shape, the perimeter is the distance around the outside. So I would need to add those up. So 7 add 3 is 10, 12, 20, 25, 36 centimetres for perimeter. Okay, well done if you got all of those. Okay, let's move on to the in focus task then. Let's get a clean page, onto in focus, we'll try. There we go. So a group of people pick their favourite pizza toppings from a list of 4. Is there enough information on the pie chart to complete the table? Okay, so today we're going to apply a bit of our knowledge of fractions and things like that, angles, fractions to help us. So what information have we got here? So we've got 4 toppings, mushroom, pepperoni, tomato and ham. I think that's, I class those as. Okay, then if we look at our pie chart, this section here, 35 people it says. I think I could fill something in straight away. This section here, they've drawn that little square in the middle there. What does that square mean? You should know. Okay, that square is something we have looked at before. Okay, that will hopefully help you with that question. And then here we've got ham and pineapple equal 1/3. I'll give you a clue, you can't fill everything in. Okay, have a go, see how much you can fill in. If you're completely stuck after filling in 1 box, carry on playing the video. If you think you can do maybe 2 boxes, brilliant. If you can't do any of it, well, you can. Everyone can do 1 box. I'm going to tell you that. Everyone can do 1 box. Pause me, have a go at as much as you can. Once you're stuck or you're unsure, carry on pressing play. Okay, try to get my PowerPoint to work. So what fraction of the group chose mushrooms? Okay, that might help us in a way. Now, what we've got on here is we can see that 1/4 is tomato. Why is it 1/4? Well, that symbol there means it's a right angle or 90 degrees. We know that if a circle is split up, let's draw on this just to show you. So we know if we split a circle, oh, let's try and get a straight line. Here we go. If we split a circle up, it will go into 4 pieces. Okay, and each of those is worth 1/4. So that one there is 1/4. We were already told that the other part was 1/3, those 2 toppings are 1/3, and we were actually given a number for that one, but it's asking us what fraction of the group chose mushrooms. How could we work that out? Let's have a think. Try and get my PowerPoint to work. Hold on. Okay. Well, 1/3 plus 1/4. Here, I've got 1/3 and I've got 1/4. Let's add those together. Well, we know we can't add fractions with different denominators. So I'm going to change those both to 12ths. 3 multiplied by 4 gives me 12. So 1 multiplied by 4 would give me 4. 4 multiplied by 3 gives me 12. So 1 multiplied by 3 would give me 3. I can now add 4/12 and 3/12, and I will get 7/12. So that tells me, and it might help you if you annotate your work or do some jottings. That bit there is 7. No, it's not. Ignore me. This bit here is 7/12, these two bits together. So then how can I work out that bit? So if that there is 7/12, what would I do with the whole? Well, I would do 1 whole minus 7/12. We know it's easier to convert 1 whole into 12/12 because 1 it would be the same as 12/12. 12/12 minus 7/12 is 5/12. Okay, so then I know that mushrooms is 5/12. Do I have to do that to fill in my table at the start? No, because I already knew that mushrooms was 35 people, but it will help me with the next part of what we are doing. Okay, so some of you, if you struggled before, might want to pause me now. This might help you. This might have, you now know that 5/12 is equal to, let's go back, 35 people. That might help you work something else out. Okay, so pause me again if you want to, or just keep watching. So we now know that mushroom was 35 people. That didn't change. Okay, we knew that. And we also knew that that 5/12 is equal to, that 35 is equal to 5/12. Okay, we know that 1/4 of people are tomato and 1/3 of people are the other 2 toppings. We also have converted our 1/4 and our 1/3 into 12ths to make it easier. Remember, 1/4 is 3/12 and 1/3 is 4/12. What am I going to do to find, how can I use, sorry, that was a very well phrased question. How can I use 5/12 is equal to 35 to help me work out 3/12 and 4/12? So if you've not thought about this, this might be a good time to stop and have another think. So 5/12 is 35. What is 1/12? Have a think about how you can work that out. Okay, so how are we going to use this to help us? 5/12 is 35 people. I said and suggested you find 1/12. To do that, I would need to divide 35 by 5, because if we go back to this little bar model over here, that 5/12 is representing 35. We've used bar models loads. Okay, so that 35, 5 pieces there represent 35, so 1 piece would represent 7. Okay, we've just worked that out. We know if 7 on 1 bar, it will be 7 in every section. At least 7's a nice easy number for me to keep writing. Okay, so each part would be 7. So now, if 1/4 is the same as 3/12, I would need to do 3 multiplied by 7, which would give me 21. Filled it in there instead of here. And then 1/3 is 4/12, so you do 7 multiplied by 4, and that would give you 28. So we can see that 35 people chose mushroom, 21 chose tomato, and 28 chose pepperoni and ham. So if you got those right, mark them, well done. Can we assume 14 people chose ham and 14 people chose pepperoni? Can we assume that? Just have a little think about that question. Can we assume? The answer is no. We don't know if these two are exactly equal. Okay, we don't know if that part of the pie chart has been split equally. It doesn't tell us anywhere that it has or hasn't. Okay, looking at the segments, we could estimate that 14, but we cannot give that as a specific answer because we don't know. Okay, so guided practice then. This again is on your OneNote. The following table and pie chart show the number of goals scored by 32 football teams in a tournament. Okay, so you've got 32 teams in a tournament. Number of goals scored, so 1 or 2, we've just got X. 3 or 4 is 14, 5 or 6 we've got a Y, 7 or 8 is 4, 9 or 10 is Z. So we've just got algebra here to represent numbers that we don't know. Just same as writing a question mark or having a missing box. We just don't know them at the moment. But what we do know is that for 3 or 4 goals, that was 14 teams. So let's find that part of the pie chart and see how many segments it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what do we think we need to do with that 14? All of that section here represents, that's a mess, sorry, 14 teams. Same thing here, 7 or 8 goals. These 2 sections here represent 4 teams. Hopefully you can use that information to find 1 or 2 goals. So that would be those segments, 4 segments there, that would be X. 5 or 6, those 2 segments there would be the number you need for Y. And 9 or 10, that 1 segment there is the number for Z. Have a go at those, pause me, have a go, and then I will explain what you need to do. Off you go. Okay, so we knew here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections were represented by 14 teams. 14 divided by 7 equals 2. So therefore each section is worth 2. We can double check that with the other information we were given. Here we were told 7 or 8 goals represented 4. 2 sections, 4 divided by 2 again would be 2. Therefore we can apply that. Z then would be 2. So 9 or 10 would be 2. Y 2, 4, and X 2, 4, 6, 8. Again, you can mark this by using that function on OneNote if you've completed it on OneNote, and that would be amazing.
Now that we've watched the video, we can go through some features of the lesson that make it a good online lesson. So first of all, there was a real clear explanation of the rapid recall right at the beginning of the lesson. There were 4 questions that were posed, linked from last week to last lesson, last year and this year. And it all linked to prior learning, which is really essential when we're thinking about the cohesion of a lesson and having that stability for children to know that they're learning that they've done before and how it builds onto the learning that they're doing now. There was an in-focus task right at the beginning of the lesson after the rapid recall, whereas the maths has been put into a context, solving a problem. This gets the children to really think about looking at maths within a context and being able to solve that problem with the knowledge that they already know, linked to prior knowledge, as like the teacher explained in the video. It was linked to fractions and linked to angles and things that they'd already learnt before. There was a clear learning intention upon LO there, learning objective and modelling of how to interpret pie charts to solve problems. With that modelling of that, interpreting, and the teacher modelling through her own thinking, the use of digital inking throughout the rapid recall and throughout the lesson from the in-focus, and the modelling of how to actually find how many people chose each topping. The teacher used the digital inking to show the number as well as the fractions and highlighted specific parts of the pie chart to model all the way through. The teacher used mathematical language. It was precise, such as fractions, segments, and pie charts, as we would expect children to use. The modelling from the teacher is really important so that children are also using that language and hearing that language in a pre-recorded lesson. What was really effective about this lesson was the use of the representations to unpick the concept and using the knowledge alongside it. Each slide, so to speak, wasn't overly crammed with lots of different things to look at. It's very simplistic, very simple, but relevant pieces of representations and tables that link directly to the learning that the children needed to focus on. Lots of opportunities for pupils to pause the video and reflect on the teacher's questioning and to unpause the video when they were ready. So this really helps that kind of small steps approach that you'd have in the classroom. Children to stop, think, reflect, have a go at something and come back and kind of be with the teacher throughout. And through that pausing effect, children are also having the chance to practice the skill throughout the lesson and jot down their ideas. Throughout the whole of the lesson, also there were some digging deeper options there as well, some questioning that children could also try and apply to challenge themselves, which I think is really effective for remote online maths teaching when you're not always sure where the children are at, whether they are comfortable or confident with the content, but they've always got that extra layer of challenge if they need it. For this lesson, the teacher was actually using OneNote to support the maths online learning for children to record their thinking as they were going through. Now I'm going to show another clip of a video, and this is the pupils' submission of their work through OneNote. I'm going to play the video and then I'll go through some benefits of using the OneNote to support this online maths learning. As you can see, the OneNote there wasn't actually a step-by-step of the lesson. It had the child's annotations all the way through. So when the teacher was asking them to pause the video and to jot down their ideas, as you can see at the beginning of the rapid recall, they had highlighted to say which ones they had got right and which ones they had got incorrect. And as you can see all the way through, there's green highlight and some writing and typing and reflecting of their ideas towards the maths learning that they'd been asked to complete. So it supports that small steps and captures the children's thinking whilst pausing, which is not the opportunity we get whilst we're doing remote learning. Children self-marking like they would do in class, and it's still replicating some of those really good practices that they have already, but online. Teacher can assess the pupil's progress throughout the lesson and follow their line of thinking about whether they are following the lesson or whether they had some misconceptions before, but through the lesson, as the lesson evolves, they understood more and more of the lesson and become more confident. And last of all, it's like an online maths book. So pupils can actually go from one lesson to another the day that is titled, so Wednesday the 13th of January. Through the use of OneNote, they can actually go between lesson by lesson and they can reflect on their learning, building on coherence and making sense of their learning, which if children are uploading their pictures, they can't always necessarily do, but because it's organized in such a way that they would have in their maths books, it makes the level of coherence really clear and really flows from one lesson to the next. I hope this video was useful. Thank you for listening.